Picture this. You're 30,000 feet in the air, nestled in the plush leather of a first-class seat, the kind of place where the champagne flows like water and the air smells like money. You're expecting white glove service, a little slice of heaven on a transatlantic flight. But for one woman, that dream was about to turn into a nightmare, not because of turbulence or lost luggage, but because of one man's colossal mistake. Let me take you back to a flight that changed everything, a story of disrespect, reckoning, and the kind of karma that hits like a freight train. It was a crisp fall evening, and I'm talking about Starlight Skies Flight SS-204 from Chicago to Paris, one of those fancy Airbus A380s with a first-class cabin that screams old money elegant soft lighting, the faint clink of crystal glasses, the hum of those massive engines slicing through the clouds. In seat 2B sat Dr. Amara Hayes, a woman who, at first glance, didn't fit the typical first-class mold. No designer labels, no flashy jewelry, just a simple navy sweatshirt, yoga pants, and a messy bun that said she was here to work, not to impress. Amara was a tech titan, the kind of self-made billionaire who ran her company, Novatech, from a laptop that held more secrets than the Pentagon. But to Marcus Tate, the senior flight attendant strutting through the cabin like he owned the sky, she was just out of place. A black woman in sweats? In his first-class cabin? His mind was already doing the math, and it wasn't adding up. Marcus was the kind of guy who thrived on control, the self-appointed king of this flying palace. He'd been with the airline for 20 years, knew every trick in the book, and had a smile that could charm a snake unless he decided you didn't belong. And Amara? He decided she didn't. It started small, almost invisible. As he glided down the aisle with a tray of pre-flight mimosas, he stopped at every seat but hers. "Mr. Thompson, your usual?" he purred to the guy in 1A, all warmth and charm. "The rose's divine tonight," he whispered to the couple in 3C, like he was sharing a state secret. But when he passed Amara's seat, his eyes slid right over her, like she was a ghost. She didn't notice at first, too deep in her spreadsheets, but when she looked up and saw the empty flute holder by her armrest, it hit her. She shrugged it off, maybe an oversight, no big deal. Then came the water. An hour into the flight, Amara pressed the call button, just wanting a bottle of still water to stay sharp for her work. The little blue light blinked above her seat. 5 minutes passed. 10. Marcus strolled by, delivering a whiskey to Mr. Thompson with a grin, then clearing a plate from another row, his eyes dodging that glowing call light like it was radioactive. A younger flight attendant, Jenny, bright-eyed, new to the crew, started toward Amara, but Marcus cut her off with a sharp, "I've got my section, Jenny. Check the galley." His voice was low, but it carried a warning. Jenny hesitated, shot Amara a quick, apologetic glance, and backed off. Amara pressed the button again, watching Marcus now. He was up front, laughing with another crew member, glancing at her light and choosing to ignore it. She took a deep breath, her mantra kicking in, "Stay calm, observe, don't react." She'd learned that early, growing up in a tough Chicago neighborhood, fighting her way through Stanford, and navigating boardrooms where she was always the only one like her. After 15 minutes, Marcus finally sauntered over, his face a mask of barely concealed annoyance. "Yes?" he said. "No, ma'am." No warmth, just a single word dripping with disdain. "I'd like a bottle of still water, please," Amara said, her voice steady, cutting through the cabin's hum like a knife. He glanced at her tray table, empty except for her laptop, and muttered, "I'll get to it when I can." Then he turned, not toward the galley, but to fluff a pillow for the guy in 2C. The passenger across the aisle, an older man in a tweed blazer, lowered his newspaper and gave Amara a small nod, like he'd just seen something ugly and knew it wasn't right. Amara felt that familiar burn in her chestang, mixed with the exhaustion of a lifetime of slights, but she stayed cool. Marcus had no idea who he was messing with. The slights kept coming, each one bolder, pettier, more deliberate. During meal service, Jenny approached with a menu, her smile genuine. "Dr. Hayes, what would you like tonight?" Amara appreciated the title, a small act of respect in a cabin that felt increasingly hostile. "The grilled salmon, please," she said. But before Jenny could note it, Marcus swooped in, snatching the tablet. "I've got this row," he snapped, then turned to Amara. "Salmon's gone. Beef or pasta?" His tone was flat, final, a lie she saw through when the woman in 3C got her salmon 20 minutes later. Amara didn't argue. "Pasta's fine," she said, her voice calm but her eyes sharp. When the plate arrived, it was slapped down, the bread rolled cold, no butter unlike every other tray in the cabin. It was a message, loud and clear: you don't belong. By the time the plane started its descent into Paris, Marcus made his final move. Collecting trays, he paused by Amara's seat. "Hope you enjoyed the flight," he said, his voice thick with sarcasm. Amara met his gaze, letting him see the steel behind her calm. "It was eye-opening," she replied, her words a quiet blade. For a split second, his smirk faltered, like he'd caught a glimpse of something dangerous. Then he leaned in, voice low. "Just a tip for next time: business class is real nice on our airline, and it's a better deal." It was a gut punch, a clear message: get back to where you belong. Amara didn't flinch, just held his stare until he broke away, muttering, "Enjoy Paris," before scurrying off. What he didn't know was that Amara wasn't just a passenger. She was a predator, and he'd just stepped into her trap. 2 days later, Paris was glittering under a starry sky, and Amara stood in a sleek penthouse overlooking the Seine, trading her sweats for a tailored emerald gown that screamed power. She wasn't just Dr. Amara Hayes anymore. She was the new chairman of Starlight Skies, having just led Novateca's hostile takeover of the struggling airline. Her team: Liam, her razor-sharp chief of staff; Carla, her no-nonsense CFO; and Priya, her brilliant head of acquisitions, had secured 60% of the airline stock in a move that left the old CEO, Gerald Vance, reeling. Amara hadn't come to Paris just to seal the deal. She'd flown incognito on SS-204 to see the airlines rot for herself, and Marcus Tate had given her a front-row seat to its toxic culture. "Liam," she said, staring out at the city lights, "pull the employee file for Marcus Tate, senior purser out of O'Hare. He's a walking case study in everything we're here to fix." She recounted the flight, her voice calm but precise, detailing every slight, every lie, every smirk. Her team listened, stunned. "He told you to fly business class?" Carla sputtered, her face red. "It's more than that," Amara said. "He's a symptom of a disease: arrogance, prejudice, a culture that lets people like him think they're untouchable. We're not just buying an airline. We're burning that mindset to the ground." Friday morning, a tense crowd of crew members filled a conference hall near Charles de Gaulle Airport. Marcus slouched in the back, rolling his eyes, certain this was just another corporate dog-and-pony show. Jenny, up front, fidgeted, her heart racing. She filed a report about Marcus's behavior, terrified he'd find out. Then Amara took the stage, her presence commanding, her gaze sweeping the room. Marcus froze, his smug grin vanishing as he recognized her, the woman in 2B, now his boss. His world tilted. "Good morning," Amara began, her voice steady, the same one that had asked for water days ago. "I'm not here to tear this airline apart. I'm here to make it the best in the world, built on one thing: respect." She paused, letting it sink in. "I flew on SS-204 this week, in first class, as a regular passenger. And what I saw was a tale of two airlines. One was embodied by a young woman named Jenny Carter, who showed kindness and professionalism despite pressure." Jenny blushed, her hands trembling. "The other," Amara's voice turned cold, "was a senior purser who judged a passenger by her appearance, ignored her requests, lied about meals, and told her she'd be better off in a cheaper cabin." The room went silent. Marcus felt every eye on him, his heart pounding. "That purser," Amara said, her gaze locking onto him, "was Marcus Tate. Mr. Tate, please come to the stage." It wasn't a request, it was a guillotine. Marcus's walk to the stage was a slow-motion nightmare, every step heavy, the silence deafening. On stage, he couldn't meet her eyes. "Tell us about your service on SS-204, Amara said, her voice soft but deadly. Marcus stammered, "I don't recall any issues." Amara's eyebrow arched. "No? You don't recall ignoring a call light for 15 minutes? Lying about the salmon? Telling me to fly business class?" Each word was a hammer. Jenny, called to the stage, confirmed it all, her voice shaking but firm. Another passenger's letter sealed Marcus's fate. "Mr. Tate," Amara said, her eyes cold, "you thought I was nobody. You were wrong. You work for me now, you did. You're fired, effective immediately. Security stepped forward, and Marcus was gone, his career in ashes. The aftermath was electric. Amara promoted Jenny to lead a new training program, the Sky Standard, rooted in respect and empathy. Crew areas were upgraded, benefits improved, and customer reviews soared. Marcus? He ended up scanning groceries in a suburban strip mall, his uniform swapped for a polyester vest, his arrogance reduced to a bitter memory. 6 months later, Amara sat in first class again, a young attendant offering her water with a smile that radiated pride. She'd built more than an airline, she'd built a legacy. So what do you think? Was Marcus's downfall justice? Or did Amara go too far? Have you ever seen someone's prejudice come back to bite them like this? Drop a comment, share your story, and let's talk about what respect really means in this world. Hit that like button if this hit home, and subscribe so you don't miss the next story of karma coming full circle. Thanks for listening.